This Whirlpool washing machine has appeared in thousands of my videos. I purchased this machine in 2009. I don't remember the exact month, but I just verified this was manufactured February 2009. This is one of the very last Whirlpool Direct Drive machines. The easiest way to tell if you open the lid, if you go and try to move the basket, you see how it's kind of lethargic and kind of stays where it is? That means that it's probably a direct drive. The newer belt drive ones will just wibble wobble all over the place. I purchased this machine specifically because it was a direct drive, because it's of the old school mechanism with a real motor and a real transmission and all that kind of good stuff. And it's been absolutely flawless for 15 years. Recently, I washed a load of bedding. And the next load I did, I said, nope, that's not washing properly. Very simple. There's a reason that I drive Toyota Camrys. They're known for reliability. If I have a problem with that, chances are it's something like a burned out light bulb. Same thing with this washer. There's really not much that goes wrong. One thing that is sort of a wear part is the agitator dogs, and they're located, of course, within the agitator. How do you know if they're no good? Well, you can watch it while it washes, and in fact, I could demonstrate that to you, but I'll show you here dry first. You'll notice that clockwise, it spins free. Counterclockwise, it's supposed to lock up and will turn the bottom part of the agitator, and you hear that like gravel type sound in there. Smooth this way, gravel that way. The agitator dogs in here are bad, and I'm going to show you how to change them. Now again, you're going to need a direct drive washer like this. Let me show you what it looks like when it washes so you'll know. Okay, you can see it's agitating right now. You see all the water and the turbulence down there. But take a look at the top part. It's kind of just dancing around barely. It shouldn't be doing that. It should be making steps, if you will. If you notice here, see that's kind of what it should be doing, working its way around. You'll notice this is a corkscrew. So what happens is everything in here agitates, and it makes its way back up the sides to up here, and now the corkscrew screws the articles back down to the agitator at the bottom, where it gets agitated. It's then pushed out, and it keeps going in a loop like this on all sides. So that's how you know it's bad, and like I said, it should not spin free in both directions. Real easy to change. Hi, I'm Jay, and I'm going to show you how to change these. What you're going to need is a standard socket wrench like that with a 7/16 inch socket. You're also going to need an extension. Something about this long should do just fine. I got more if I need, but that's going to go on just like that, and you're going to see why that's going to be important in a bit when we get to that. You're also, of course, going to need new agitator dogs. Well, I got a whole pack of them here. In fact, there's different ones in here. Some of these are yellowed, the rest are white. I don't know why. And I vacuum sealed them. I also don't know why. I don't think it makes any difference. You need a pack of 4 of them. What's the part number? Great question. Look it up. The way you do that, there's a model number under the lid. Chances are very good that if you go to an appliance parts website, you can type that in and it'll give you a parts list, and it will show the agitator dogs. I do not remember the exact part number of these, usually 80030 or 80040. Do not go by that number. Look it up first for your machine to make sure you get the right part. But that's pretty much how it goes. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take the agitator out. It's really easy. You open the lid, okay? And the first thing you need to do is remove the fabric softener. This works for pretty much any Whirlpool Direct Drive and also any Kenmore Direct Drive machines. Some have different style fabric softener tops. You may have no dispenser and in that case it'll just be a cap there. You can just get like a screwdriver under that and just pry it up like that. Some of the older Kenmore ones have like a turquoise colored ring. You have to like pull up on that, and that unlocks it. And then to remove it, just grab underneath and it pops right out. Just pull it right out. Okay, so I'll set that aside. In here, if you use fabric softener, it's going to be gunky. It's okay. It's just dried up fabric softener. It's not going to hurt anything. You see there are two little kind of wings there. You can get your hand in there and put your fingers in that and pop out that cap. So we're going to go in there, and there we go. And you see there's a whole bunch of gunk and stuff on that. I'm going to clean this up before I reinstall it. But take a look down in there. There's the bolt that we came for. Okay, here's our wrench. And we're going to simply put that down over the bolt. There we are. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to try to loosen it, and the whole thing is going to spin. That's totally normal. What you need to do is reach down in there and grab one of the fins at the bottom, like that, and then turn it. Okay? And that's actually all we needed. That wasn't very tight at all. And now we're just going to run this out. This is the first time in 15 years I've ever had the agitator out of this machine. So we'll see how it goes together. My other direct drive washer I've replaced the agitator dogs on twice already over the years. And there we go. We're loose. If it stays in there, it's okay. I believe we should be good. You're now going to reach down all the way into the bottom of the machine under the agitator and simply lift up. And the whole thing comes out just like that. And what we're going to do is set this down on the floor. Okay, what you're going to do is step on the agitator. Yes, this is how it's done, folks. I'm not making any of this up. This is how it's done. You're now going to grab this top part and you're going to pull up. Now, I've gotten reports that sometimes these stick and they won't pull off. Will this one pull right off? I don't know. We're going to find out together here. If it doesn't, you can employ the use of something like a rubber mallet or something. While somebody is pulling on it, you can kind of bang on that. But let's just grab it good. And there you go. It pops right up. Take it up here. Okay? Very important. Put your hand on top. And now turn it over. If you do this without your hand on top, you're going to be sorry. There's the piece that we came for. I'm going to use this bag that I have sitting around. This is part number 80040, as you see right there. These are more yellow than the others. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if they've aged, but this job is so easy to do that if these didn't only last a few months, I got 1,000 more of them. The way it works is this. You may have a different looking assembly, but it has all the same parts and it goes exactly the same way. You should have some sort of keeper on here, and that comes off. Take it off in the same orientation and just put it over there. Now you're going to take the agitator dogs out. They kind of look like fish. They pull straight up. 2, 3, 4. Set those aside. Here are our new ones. And if you forget how they go, it's real easy. You kind of want to fill in this space. I'll show you the wrong way. See how they fall out? Kind of like that. They're sticking out. No good. They have to follow the contour of it like that. And you just put the little tailbone, if you will, in that little socket right there. Down like that. Down in there. In there. And down in there like that, and just kind of push them back in like that. And now you take this and that goes back on just like that. That's all there is to it. Off camera, I have taken the liberty of cleaning the agitator. I also put the old agitator dogs under the microscope, and we're taking a look at it here. You can see how it's worn down, and there's only one little piece left. That's right there. Here's another one. You can see there's a chunk missing out of it, and it's really chewed up. There you can see the other side of it where there's still a little bit left. It might have been grabbing on that. Here's one of those white ones. That's what it's supposed to look like. There are 3 little steps there, or whatever you want to call it, just like that. If you run your fingernail along them, you will feel a definite bump in each of those 3 positions right there. Now let's go ahead and reassemble. Okay, for this style, I'm going to demonstrate what actually has to happen first, and then we're going to go ahead and do it. With this retainer on there, they're not going to fall out, so we're all good. The idea, if you look here, these 4 things like that, these go through that, so that is going to go on. Once I get it lined up, there we go, and that will go through. I'm not going to snap it down right now because of that, but that would go right through that. The problem is you have to do it through here. Take that off, and now what you're going to need to do, if you look down in there, hopefully you can see there's like kind of gear teeth in there, and the little bumps, as we saw from the microscope footage, have to engage with the teeth in there. So you kind of have to get this down in there, and you're going to put it with the retainer down. The way you know which end is which here, the part with the big lip on it is the top. Bigger lip, smaller lip. So you kind of have to stick it in there, and maybe stick your finger in the middle of it and fidget it around, and there we go. You see, I'm holding it kind of in place. And now we take that while holding it in place, and we're going to put it over the top of that and work it around until we get it seated. There it is there, and we're going to push down to make sure that it snaps in. I need to put this on the floor. Okay, that's it. It just sort of fits in place. There's no actual click that you're going to hear or feel. It just sort of sits on those little ears like that. So because it sits that way, if you go to pick it up by this, there's a chance it might fall apart on you. So pick it up from the bottom. But how do you know that it's installed properly? Well, let's test it. Remember, you can turn it clockwise, and before, when we tried to turn it counterclockwise, it made that like sound like gravel was in there. See how it locks? That's exactly what it's supposed to do. And it'll spin the bottom of it because it's all one piece. But it'll lock that way. And of course, I'll give you a quick demonstration wash to show you how that works, like that. But we're all set, and that is ready to go back in the machine. So we'll open the lid, pick the entire agitator up from the bottom, so that way there's no trouble, and you just sort of drop it down the middle. Wiggle it around just a little bit. There we go. And make sure it's seated. Just press down like that. Here's the bolt. Now you have a problem, because you're going to try to go in here, and that's what's going to happen. So then you're going to try to fish it out of there and drop it again, and drop it again, and drop it again. I have a way that this is going to work 100% of the time. Here's our wrench from before. Problem is, you're going to put the bolt in there like that, and when you turn it upside down, it's going to fall out. Simplest, easiest solution: get yourself a little piece of paper towel, just like you have in your kitchen. That's all there is to it. Grab the bolt head, put it over the bolt head like that, and now put it in the socket Won't fall out. That'll be $5, please. Now, with the bolt on there, we can go ahead and put that in. And you can run that down. Now, eventually what's going to happen is the bottom part of the agitator is going to start turning. So let's get this run down. It's a long thread, so it takes just a moment. So we'll take that off for a second and just twiddle it down. There we go, we're getting snug. You don't need this super tight, but see how it turns like that? So grab it and just give it about like that, maybe just a little more. Perfect. You'll feel it just kind of get tight, and that's all you need. Now, as far as the paper towel in there, well, a couple things you can do. Put a piece of, you know, put a screwdriver down there, maybe a pair of pliers, something like that. And there you go, you can take it out. You can also just leave it in there. It's not going to hurt anything and won't be a problem next time either. Okay, we're ready to reinstall this cap here. This keeps water out and fabric softener from getting in there and stuff like that. Problem you're probably going to have putting it back in is the O-ring is going to pop out. It's not going to want to go. Get yourself some regular dish soap that you use for dishes. Put an ungodly amount on there because you definitely don't need that much. And that's fine right there. And now, once again, you can get your fingers kind of in there like that. Mine are getting too fat for that. And put it down in, and you will feel it pop into place. There it is right there. It just pops in, nothing to it, especially with the soap on it, it just pops right down. And fabric softener dispenser or cap or what have you, anything like that, it just goes on top, and you're done. And now, when you go to turn it, remember, clockwise it's going to spin free, counterclockwise it's going to lock, and we'll now turn the bottom part of the agitator like that. Now let's start a quick cycle. That's way different than we saw before. That's what it actually is doing. Where it's grabbing it and it's turning it, and watch the corkscrew go down. Like I said, that pushes the articles down to the bottom, to the agitator, where it gets agitated, and you get that whole cycle come up and around like that, and now we have proper washing action. And while I had this apart, I also cleaned the entire agitator top to bottom, scrubbed it down with a brush and cleaner and all kinds of stuff like that, so it looks great. And the next thing I'm going to do is run some washing machine cleaner in here as well. So everything here is working great. So there you go. After 15 years, that is all this machine has needed in repair. How much did that cost? About $5. How are you going to beat that? You can do this job yourself. I just showed you how. You have all the tools you probably need as long as you have a socket wrench. You can get the parts real easy online, and that's all there is to it. And for $5, this machine is working top-notch once again. But you also can't beat that 15-year reliability on pretty much a consumable wear part. Not bad. Beats the heck out of buying a new washing machine. Anyway, you have everything you need to repair yours. If you still have one of these machines, don't get rid of it under any circumstances. Repair it at any cost. A, it's going to be worth it because it'll still be cheaper than another machine. And L, you're going to have a machine that works way better than anything that they possibly make today. High efficiency, they say, uses less water, uses less electricity. It's all a lie to get that green stuff out of your wallet, because that's what they want. They'll tell you all the lies in the world. Look who runs the country. Anyway, that's all I have for you. If this video helped you out, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd appreciate hearing from you. If you would please click on that super thanks button below the video. That helps me out and helps the channel out. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.